Gyms have been closed for over a month now, leaving gym goers frustrated. However, recently the White House released their guidelines for opening America again. Its Phase 1 plan allows gyms to reopen. So, some gyms have reopened while others have remained closed. In this episode, we answer the question, when are gyms going to reopen? Like everywhere? In America? Welcome back to Total Body Training. I'm Jean Carlos, and if you haven't already subscribed to my YouTube channel, then please click the subscription button and hit the thumbs up button as well. On this channel, we go over fitness tips and trends to help you get in shape. Last week, around April 16th, the White House put out its guidelines for opening America again. And the guidelines are broken up into 3 major phases. In each phase, different kinds of businesses will be allowed to reopen. Each phase also includes suggested guidelines for how businesses should practice their health measures, such as social distancing and standing room occupancy. Phase 1 states that gyms can open if they adhere to strict physical distance and sanitation protocols. But, my fellow gym goers, don't get your hopes up too quickly, because not every state and the cities within that state are reopening at the same time. The article goes on to state that each governor of a state has the rights to handle the situation differently. And it strictly says, in quotes, they can implement on a statewide or countrywide basis at a governor's discretion. In short, it's up to the state's governors to decide when gyms can reopen. Not all states are opening up at the same time, and not all states are following the guidelines put out by the White House in the same exact way. Different states have different ways of doing it, and it's really based on how the governors feel about it. For more about which states are already open or in the process of reopening, you can check out this New York Times article that I put down in the description section of this video. It's called "See Which States Are Reopening and Which Are Still Shut Down." I live in San Antonio, Texas, and our governor here is Greg Abbott. On April 27th, Abbott rolled out his 3-step plan in 3 phases for how he plans on reopening Texas. And he has changed the phases a little bit differently. So in our Phase 1 for Texas, gyms are not allowed to be reopened. It's not until the Phase 2 of Greg Abbott's plan that gyms are allowed to reopen. And even then, there isn't really a hard set date for when the reopening will happen. That is entirely, as he says, contingent on how people perform and whether or not there's a spike in people getting sick again after the first phase occurs. And we're not the only ones that aren't able to open. I believe it's gyms, bars, and barbershops are not be able to open, so places where there's a lot of close contact with people. And, from there, they're going to revisit in 2 weeks. So it would be the 2nd to 3rd week of May before they revisit whether or not they're going to reopen gyms in Phase 2. So we're really taking a measured approach here in Texas. In short, we don't really have a set date for when gyms are going to reopen in Texas. We just don't know when it's going to happen. Other states have handled this differently. For example, Georgia Governor Brian Kemp went ahead and opened just about everything in Georgia, including gyms. He's doing that despite the fact that there are various scientific sources that say that Georgia is not ready to be reopened. Estimation, a study by the Institute for Health Metrics and Evaluation from the University of Washington says that Georgia should not reopen until June. So that's a lot longer than April, which is when he decided to reopen. Before I go on, one thing that's important is to recognize that these governors aren't saying that you have to reopen. If you are a business owner who's concerned and maybe is more into a scientific perspective on whether or not businesses should be open, then you can remain closed. That's perfectly fine. No one's gonna tell you that you absolutely have to do it. There are business owners who are doing that in the state of Georgia and in other places in the country. One such business owner is Harvey Spevak. Harvey Spevak is the owner of Equinox. Equinox is an extremely popular gym, and they have chosen to instead wait for the scientific community to tell them when they should reopen in certain parts of the country. So what I'm assuming is that they are opening in certain states and certain places, but not in others. Because in the interview that I listened to with him, which I've got a link to it in the bottom, he just says that it's really a localized situation and it's a state by state or city by city situation as to whether or not you should reopen. When are gyms going to reopen? The answer is complicated. I mean, some governors have given their states the ability to reopen their gyms, while others haven't. Some business owners within the states that have reopened have chosen to stay closed, while others have chosen to open. Is that clear as mud? Maybe you live in a state where gyms are open, but you're a little bit concerned about going back to work out already, like right now. Or perhaps, like me, you live in a state where gyms still aren't able to be reopened. After all, I own a gym, it's called Total Body Training, and we're not going to be able to be open until they tell us that we can. So what do you do? All right, I already answered this question in a prior video called Price Gouging Weightlifting Equipment and 5 Alternative Ways to Work Out from Home, so you could watch that. You can watch that video by clicking the link right up here in the cards up here at the top of this video or in the bottom of this video. It'll take you there and we'll talk about the price gouging of equipment right now. Separate problem, but related to this issue. But I also go through a few tips for what to do if you're stuck at home and you can't get to the gym. I'm gonna go over those tips and give some other tips real quick right here. But for more about that price gouging of equipment, click on that video. You know, to summarize the concepts in that video, what I'm gonna say is that if you can't get into the gym right now, there's some options. Maybe it is that you do 1, more steady state cardio, 2, you do HIIT workouts at home. So you work out from home using exercises that you already know or using exercises that you see in YouTube videos. That's a great way to do it. 3, you can lift weights at home if you have them. The price gouging thing is a problem and I explained that in that video, but you know, you can watch that if you want more information. 4, if you've got equipment or maybe you don't have equipment and you're feeling like you can't focus when you're at home, the other option is to get a premium service. So you could get something like a live class service, something like Peloton or maybe Black Swan, they offer stuff, or our own live online workout classes are very suitable for helping you stay on track because we actually watch you working out while you're at home. So those, I think, are your options if you're just somebody who wants to work out. Here's what I have to say to my fellow gym owners. If you are in a state like Texas where you can't reopen yet, or perhaps you're in a state like Georgia where you can reopen, but you're concerned about reopening, you don't want to open just yet, maybe you need to think about pivoting your company. Maybe you need to think about what you can do in the meantime. Here at Total Body Training, I started renting out barbells and dumbbells to my clients and other members of the community here in San Antonio, giving them equipment and making a little bit of money off of that at a fair price. I also started implementing classes online for people to work out with. That has been very successful. I lowered the prices, the monthly costs of my classes at Total Body Training so that people can continue to work out with me. And a few interesting things happened during that time. I had people come on that hadn't worked out with us in years and had moved but wanted to work out with me, so I was able to get them equipment rented to them because they lived far from the gym, so I brought that equipment to them. I was able to get them equipment and they're able to work out with us consistently now. So maybe you need to pivot your company. And I know some of you are thinking, well, my gym isn't ran that way or I don't have that as an available thing, but I'm just gonna wait, but here's the situation. What happens if we reopen, right? Hypothetically. We still have to run at a low capacity. It's very clear in the mandates that came down from the White House that we're going to have to run our gyms at a lower capacity, and we should because this coronavirus thing is serious. So gyms are going to be running with smaller populations in them, with less people attending them, and you know that means that chances are you might not have the same level of money coming in as you used to have. Are you going to have enough money to pay your rent and to pay your employees and things like that? Maybe not. I listened to a separate interview with the owner of Planet Fitness, and he was talking about how after the last recession, in the mid-2000s, Planet Fitness memberships started to go up. So people were looking for things that were much, much cheaper. So if you're a higher end gym or a training studio, you might lose a lot of clients during that time period. You might not have people with the actual capital, because we are in a recession now, with the actual capital to be able to pay for your high-end services. So is there something else that you can do offering classes online that keeps people safe and keeps people in the loop with your brand and with your company while they're waiting to be able to come back into the gym? The benefit of this is that you hold on to some amount of money, you hold on to more clients, people appreciate it. I can tell you that my clients, from the most part, have appreciated what we've offered, but also what happens if this happens again? We hit another recession, or there's another spike, in people getting sick and they have to shut down again, or something like that. Either way, at some point or another, as a business owner, eventually something similar could happen again, hypothetically. And it could come as soon as May, when people start to reopen, but then people get sick again. Or it could come back in October, when some people are estimating that we might hit an even greater spike in people getting sick. So if that's the case and places have to reopen, or you just see numbers plummeting, having another stream of revenue, owning an online side to your business, having and teaching classes online with your clients will help you. So is there some other way that you can pivot your company so that you can keep making money outside of the gym while still representing your brand and your gym company? All right, people, I hope this video was a help to you. If you're a gym goer, I hope it more or less answered your question, because we're not 100% sure when we're going to open up here at Total Body Training. I know other places already have, but there's a lot of uncertainty right now as to whether or not that's going to continue to happen and whether or not we're going to be able to stay open consistently right now. All right, people, thank you so much. If you enjoyed this video, please click the subscription button where we can keep giving you tips and tricks for improving your fitness and your health. Give me a thumbs up button and subscribe to my channel. Until next time, peace. Working out from home can be boring. Whether it's the fact that you don't have proper weightlifting equipment, or you're sick and tired of using pre-recorded workout videos that lack motivation and proper instruction that is geared towards you. If you find yourself in one of those categories, look no further than Total Body Training. We've got you covered with our online weightlifting from home program. That's right, we teach you in a virtual classroom how to work out and lift weights for you at your current level and where you want to be at in the next 6, 12 months. Where do you want to be at by the end of this year? We've got you covered with our online weightlifting program. So if you're interested, read the description section of this video to learn more about how you can start lifting weights from home with us today.
She's a